Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our GoToMeeting Contribution Compass webinar this morning. My name is Belinda Doveston, and I am the lead of our Contribution Compass global team. And a very, very warm welcome to you this morning as we celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week this week. A wonderful event, a powerful worldwide global phenomenon where we celebrate the entrepreneur, where we focus on what it takes to grow economies by growing people who lead businesses. And I really welcome you to our session today and thank you for making the commitment to be here with us and to share with your own growth as an entrepreneur, your own growth as a leader in the market, and how important you are as a champion of the growth of business. So I trust that you will thoroughly enjoy our session together and that there'll be something that leaves with you, some insight, some takeaway that you can take back into your businesses, back into your vision of the world to come for your business and for your life. So let's get going this morning. As part of the webinar process, just some logistics. After the session, within a day, you will receive an email with a link to re-listen to the recording if you'd like to do so. And of course, if you have not been able to attend this morning, the same process applies. If you've registered, you have the opportunity to re-engage with the content and listen and go through it. So please do so. We encourage you to do that and also to share the link with anyone that you'd like to. So let's get going. Our session this morning is entitled Maximizing Your Leadership as an Entrepreneur. And I've got three powerful ideas to share with you. So as we go through the process, I'm going to really go through these ideas and share with you something that you can take away from today's session and really apply. Before we do that, though, a little bit of an introduction. My name, as I mentioned up front, is Belinda Doveston. I'm the head of Contribution Compass Global. And my journey has been one of probably about 3 careers in my working life. I started off having finished a university degree in business and information systems, and I went into the world of business consulting and business analysis, and had some amazing life experiences in developing my skills there, and then decided, okay, I know enough about helping other people grow their businesses. Let me try and do it myself. Well, what a learning journey that was. I left the corporate cushy world of a nice paycheck and jumped into the unknown of starting a business with a partner of mine, and went on this amazing journey of learning. Sometimes the learning was painful, I must admit. For all of us, we've had those experiences. As I went on learning and expanding my understanding of what it means to be an entrepreneur. And successfully sold that business and is now thriving and surviving and doing better than I could have ever helped it to do, which is always a victory personally, professionally. And now, having joined the Sadar team in 2009, I joined the Sadar group and joined and something I'm incredibly passionate about. So that's my journey. I bring to you the corporate experience, I bring to you the Star Group experience, the Compass, as well as my experiences of being an entrepreneur and the difficulties on the front line that we have to face in that journey. All right, so let's get into the topic this morning. So maximizing your leadership as an entrepreneur. There's a couple of key concepts and as I mentioned, 3 powerful ideas that we're going to touch on as we go through the process. And what I wanted to do was start our session together with a story. And this story should be on your screen shortly. This is the story of a stream of scientific research into the world of spiders. So what you're seeing in front of your screen, or what you're seeing, is an experiment and photographs taken of what happens when spiders are fed different types of semi and quite addictive substances. Now, the story of how this research came to being, and I promise you it connects to the world of leadership as an entrepreneur, is that a scientist was quite annoyed that spiders weave their webs at 2 to 5 in the morning, and he wanted to see, could he make them do that later so he could research them better without having to get up so early. What a practical idea. So he fed them caffeine. And what he noticed was that instead of them doing it earlier or later or changing their time, it changed the quality of the web that they wove. So what you'll see on the top of these pictures is on the top left, I'm sure you've seen this experiment or read about it. The top left is a normal spider web. And then we've got the top right, we've got a caffeine spider web. You can see this does not look so great. This is really erratic. This is me after my Monday morning cup of coffee. Not good. Weaving webs all over the place at random, no plan, nothing. Then the bottom, we've got some other types of substances. We have a marijuana web, which is also kind of incomplete and slowly disintegrating into nothing. We've got a speed web, which is kind of built obviously on high speed, but not really finishing or getting anywhere, and a mescaline one as well. So what I wanted to share with you is a way of telling the story of this NASA research, basically, that comes from 1995, is that when, as entrepreneurs, as leaders, our ideal as a leader, as we grow a business and we take a business from essentially what is a craft or a small little activity we do, i.e. self-employed. Our idea is to weave this web, this normal web, to allow us to capture literally the flies, whether the flies mean for us, whether it's stakeholders, partners, shareholder money, whatever it might be. And in our journey of building this perfect web, the reality is that we're influenced by lots of distractions and by lots of substances, and read substances as people, events, focus. There's a whole lot of things that detract us from being the best leader, entrepreneur we can be. And we all have particular things that are our Achilles heel. And I'm going to talk today as part of this process about what do we have to do to be the perfect web weavers, but to build our own web, not to expect ourselves to build exactly the same web to everyone else. And what are the distractions? What are the things that make us create this crazy caffeine web? You know, if we can't capture the big fly with a web like that. And so too in business, we've got to build up a business. We've got to build up a structure, a team, a vision that is strong and resilient and can capture the big fish, as it were. And what does that actually mean symbolically for us going forward? So just bear that in mind. We'll come back to the spiders. We'll refer back to the webs as we go along. But that's what we're doing. We're weaving beautiful webs and capturing the big fish or the big fly, whatever it is symbolically in your life. Now, there are a number of challenges that we face as entrepreneurs, and one of those is that it's very easy to become like, you know, this message in a bottle, to be tossed around in the waves of economic uncertainty, of, you know, Trump versus Clinton, of, you know, our local domestic political changes. And so there's finance issues, there's team, there's competitors, there's a whole lot of competing forces that can make us feel like we're bumping along in the sea of uncertainty, of trying to find our way, but struggling to, you know, manage all the external forces that are coming at us. And of course, what does a ship do? You'll hear us talk a lot in the Contribution Compass about this idea of navigating across the seas of uncertainty. What does a ship have? I'm sure you can guess. And if you're guessing right, you should see any moment, oh, there we go. You guessed right, we need an anchor. We need something to ground our idea, to bring what we're trying to do. Instead of bobbing on the surface and living at the surface level, is to take our idea, take our vision, and really anchor that in deep into what we're here to do. And there's a number of things that I want to share with you. On the next slide, I want to share with you a couple of ideas. The first powerful idea of today's session is that one of the things that we have to do is to overcome this idea of bobbing on the surface and not having an anchor, and, you know, trying to weave this web and having all these forces influencing us, is to strive for absolute essentialism, which can be defined as the disciplined pursuit of less. Now, there's a book entitled Essentialism that this idea comes from, and it's written by a gentleman called Greg McCown. And I cannot emphasize enough, if you are an entrepreneur and you want to lead your organization forward, if you want to take your business out of a lifestyle business where it's all about earning to keep your lifestyle at the level it is, if you're thinking about taking that to something bigger and actually contributing something really meaningful for this world, the only way that we can put an anchor and ground our idea into reality and turn that idea into something meaningful that makes an impact is through essentialism. You can disagree with me, pop a note in the question box if you think I'm, you know, lost the plot completely. My web is a caffeine web. But my experience is that when we are absolutely focused on what it is that's most important to us, our ability to attract the right people to help us, the ability for us to get stuff done is absolutely switched on and accelerated in an exponential format. The idea that we can multitask, that we have the ability to do a whole lot of things at once, is a scientific unreality. It is fake news. The new news, the true news, is that we have to be absolutely focused. And this can be, for some of us, be absolutely impossible to achieve. So my first challenge to you today is, as an entrepreneur, as a member of this call this morning, think about, as your journey as a leader, are you absolutely focused on the core essence of what you are here to do? That takes a number of formats. One is, do you have a crystal clear vision of what it is that you're actually trying to achieve? You know, you hear a lot in the strategy books and all the training courses about having a strategy, and that's all good, but is there a crystal clear vision that is something meaningful and important to not just you, but to the world at large? I know that's a big ask. I know that it can take many, many years of refining and work to get that vision clear. And sometimes that's the journey. Some people wake up with a clear vision. It's absolutely crystal clear idea. Some of us, we have to work at it and whittle it down until we really get to the essence. But if we are focused on this idea of essentialism, of doing less, of putting down all the noise and all the things that we think are important and focusing on what's absolutely important, we can literally unlock that door. We can literally put that anchor in and take that anchor up when we need to fly and put it down and ground the idea that we're trying to create. Please, I really encourage you, I cannot emphasize it enough, how important it is to go and read that book. It covers a whole lot of things, such as, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to create meaningful a difference in this world, get some sleep. You know, these are things that really look to taking care of you as an entrepreneur, as a leader. You know, not overdoing it, being paced, being focused, choosing one idea, doing one idea really well, saying no to all the noise, you know, saying no to the substance that's going to impact your web, staying absolutely focused on what's really important. So that's my first powerful idea, is think about, reflect on you as an entrepreneur, as a leader. To what extent have you created a process, a structure around your life that supports you to be absolutely focused on what's really important, to be essential and to be an expert at essentialism? So the next part of that thought process is, right, we need to be focused on essentialism and have a clear vision and be on a quest for something meaningful. But what we also have to do is, the next part of the journey is understanding that we all have value and understanding what our value is. So you'll see in this picture a beautiful, faceted, brilliant cut diamond. And it's a wonderful analogy of us as human beings, that we go through this journey of being put under a massive amount of pressure as this kind of raw coal, of being put under this massive pressure and being developed through the stress and being developed through the challenges. If we avoid challenges in life, we just stay coal. We don't become the diamond. We have to experience new ways of learning how to deal with pressure. How do we respond under pressure? Who are we when we deal with pressure? And so that's what life is about. It's about putting ourselves and throwing ourselves into the pressure and allowing the coal to transform into the diamond. But each of us is a different diamond. Not all of us are a brilliant cut. Some are radiant cuts, some are princess diamonds, some are those beautiful protea diamonds. There's lots of different types of diamond facets and shapes, and none of them are wrong or right. But if we can, as leaders, is understand what is our unique shape, what is our real value that's hidden behind the diamond in the rough, and what is it that we have to do to facet that and work at it and put more pressure on that diamond. I'm not saying being crazy, I'm saying accepting that this life of pressure and stress is part of our journey of actually becoming diamonds. And so what is your shape? What is your unique value that you contribute to your business and to the team around you? And do you have expectations that you are the next Steve Jobs when you aren't the next Steve Jobs? You know, are you maybe a Larry Page or a Richard Branson in the making? You don't have to be a Steve Jobs. You can be your absolute perfect diamond in your own way. As someone once said to me at a presentation, she came to me afterwards and she said, "You've just given me permission to be a little bit crazy in my own special way. And I said, that's exactly it. Be your own crazy in whatever shape of diamond you become, whatever color diamond. It doesn't have to be white, it can be pink, it can be blue. Just think about what is it that you are here to do and what is the value you create. So part of our development as leaders and entrepreneurs is not just focusing on that essentialism idea of being absolutely focused on what it is that we're here to do and saying no to the noise, but also being absolutely clear on who we are and what is our value that we contribute as an entrepreneur. What is that special characteristic that we have that someone else can't contribute, and how do we then maximize what that contribution is all about? As much as we talk about that, a diamond takes a very long time, or rather a piece of coal takes a really long time to become a diamond. And quite honestly, we don't have time. So this is the quandary. We've got to be essential, we've got to be focused, not multitask, stick to what's really important. We've got to focus on developing ourselves as human beings, as entrepreneurs, as leaders, throwing ourselves at learning, throwing ourselves at growth, and being absolutely critical of our performance. Not blaming others, but really owning our own journey as our learning process that we're here to do. But we don't have time. And so, in a way, the essentialism journey becomes a very important journey. We only have a few hours, a few years in the big scheme of things on this planet, depending. We all got different lifespans we're here to fulfill. I hope we all have nice, long, happy lives, but we don't know. And so we have a very limited time to make a real difference. I once went to a talk by a gentleman called Bram Malherbe. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's an activist, particularly with variety coaching, and he's one of the gentlemen who ran along the Great Wall of China. Absolutely amazing speaker. And he said in his talk, he said, are you here? Are you an asset to this world, or are you a liability? When you leave this mortal coil, have you left more behind than what you took off the earth? Now, if you think about just a laptop, the laptop I'm looking at right now, my laptop took 9 tons of raw materials to produce this laptop in front of me. 9 tons of raw materials came out of the earth to make this laptop that's in front of me. Now, have I used this laptop, these 9 tons of raw materials taken out the earth and not put back? Have I created more value on this earth than the 9 tons I took out the ground? And so when we think about this idea of running out of time, that's the feeling I want to create for us, that actually we have a little bit of time here. How do we put back more than what we consumed? How do we contribute more in terms of our world, people around us, our families, our happiness? What are the things that we're putting back that we've taken out? And it's about thinking about how do we really prioritize what we're here to do, bearing in mind that time waits for nobody, and we're here to do something with every moment of time. Every moment is precious. How do we translate that into value and contribution? So after that big speech around contribution, really it's about focusing on the step-by-step stepping stones. We don't have to get to the end point on day one. And if we try to have that expectation of ourselves, there's 2 things that are going to happen, maybe both happen. One is our health goes down the tubes, because we're so stressed and we aren't able to manage our own energy and focus, or the relationships or our significant other disappears from our life because we're not able to hold on to them. So this is really about, as leaders, as entrepreneurs, being absolutely focused on looking after ourselves and maximizing our contribution through step-by-step approach of taking every step along the way to get to that vision that we were here to create. So therefore, my point is, the second powerful idea, building upon the first idea of essentialism, is that we need to discover and maximize our zone of flow. We don't have time. We all have gifts. We all are diamonds. Some in the rough, some on their way. We're all diamonds. We're all different shaped diamonds. So what we have to do is be absolutely focused, essential, on what is our zone of flow. And part of the challenge of being an entrepreneur, particularly with a startup enterprise, and there's a variety of different types of enterprise sizes joining us on the call this morning, is being absolutely focused on being in our zone of flow. And the zone of flow is that moment when you look back over the last a couple of hours of doing something, and you don't even notice time has gone by. It seems like it's vaporized. And you felt like you've done something meaningful with that time. And you felt happy, and you felt like creatively, like you're in a process where everything you need is being drawn to you at the right time. We can't be in that zone of flow all the time. I mean, it'd be wonderful, but it's about aspiring to being in that zone of flow. And in order to do that, we have to make decisions around what we pay attention to. As an entrepreneur, a startup business, I mentioned, we have to do a lot of different things. You know, we're the sales people, we're the finance people, we're the tea person. You know, there's a lot of different things that we have to do, and that's part of the process. The difference is how quickly and how focused are we in understanding our zone of flow and mobilizing the people around us to be in their zone of flow and to accelerate the growth of the company that you lead. That's the difference, not that you have to do the tea at the same time as strategy. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, what I'd like to do is share with you a little bit this morning around the contribution compass and how the thinking around this can support you to find your zone of flow. And to do that, I'd like to talk first about harnessing natural energy. So in our view, in order to maximize your contribution and to be in your zone of flow, you need to understand what is your natural energy. So natural energy is your absolute natural ability to be the best that you can be. When you are in your zone of flow, what does that look like to you? What are you doing when you're in your natural energy? And what tends to happen is we think that we have to be the master of everything. And, you know, we have to be technical, and we have to be people-oriented, and we have to be strategic. And actually, we tend to all have something that is particular, you know, our particular shaped diamond, something we're particularly good at. Under pressure, this is what happens. Remember the diamonds under pressure? Under pressure, we will always revert to our natural energy, despite our learned behavior. No matter how many courses you've been on, no matter how much your technical training has been, under pressure, when you've got to make a snap decision, or when you've got to react and you don't have time, running sands, we will always respond to our natural energy. And if we understand that, we can learn to attune to the times. Now, I'll talk a little bit about what that might mean a little bit later. So understanding our natural energy is really in a team, in particular, as you as a leader, understanding what your natural energy is, understanding the natural energy of your team around you, and building up a team where in this image, the team is all in the right place and the right position and is moving together in a harmonious way. If everyone in this picture had the same natural energy, they'll all be standing trying to turn the same lever. That is never going to get that sale up, ever, ever, ever. Okay, so what are the different types of natural energies? There are four main types of natural energies as we define them. The red one at the top or north is called activating energy. High energy, think of the likes of Steve Jobs. High energy, moving, ideas, innovation, activity. You can see those kind of people in the way they walk. They're always walking fast with their head forward. There's like this energy and a movement, and everything is now, now, now. That's activating energy. And as we go through that, think about yourself and your team, maybe your loved ones, the people around you. Where do they fit in this picture? Then we have what we call inspiring energy. There's on east, the position of the compass, and also the kind of the yellow-orange color. Inspiring energy is like a flame. It's warming, it's inspiring, it brings things together. This is the people energy. It brings and warms and lights people up and makes people excited. Inspiring energy. And then we have the sustaining energy down the bottom. That's, you can imagine, like the element of earth. It holds the earth, it holds the idea, it sustains for the long term, it is a long-term perspective, it understands what it takes to take the idea and turn it into reality, so sustaining energy. And then on the left-hand side, we have tempering energy. Tempering is precision and analytical and metallic. It's got this energy of refinement and precision and everything happening in time and on time. So tempering energy is a very different type of approach to inspiring energy. It's all about data and facts and analysis, and is a wonderful way to think about how we work with these energies. Now, we have a profiling system or methodology or platform called the Contribution Compass, which then takes those four energies and puts them together through a profiling instrument, online questionnaire, and helps to identify what is your unique combination of natural energies. And we are all unique. This is not about putting people in a box. This is actually about saying, We are all unique diamonds, but we tend to have one particular shape, color, or type of diamond that is our greatest, most accelerating path to our zone of flow. We learn how to do all the different types of energies, we learn how to work with them, but there's typically always one that is the one that is our most natural zone of flow. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go through each of these profiles briefly with you and share with you an example of the different types of entrepreneurial leaders we can aspire to. And as we go through, think about what you might be based on what your value is in your business. What is the typical type of value that you create as an entrepreneur leader? Because when we're talking about leadership here today, think about your style of leadership and think about the different types of examples that we go through and think about what profile you might be. What is your natural energy? My experience, I'm a calibrator, for example, is a top left there. And as a calibrator, I can't even describe to you how valuable knowing my zone of flow has been in my career, my personal return, my personal happiness, in saying that's what I am. That is not necessarily a box, but a pathway of actually accelerating my growth. And knowing that time is short, knowing that I'm here to deliver something of value or being an asset, not a liability, I'm going to put all my focus on actually accelerating my zone of flow and maximizing my contribution as a calibrator. And so each one of us, this is one way that we can, as leaders, do that within our companies that we lead. Okay, so let's go through these 8 profiles. The first profile is what we call a catalyst. They accelerate change. They're like a beautiful spark that gets things going. They tend to accelerate things. They are incite change. They get things moving. They have a massive amount of energy. They also change their minds quite quickly and not necessarily even aware that they're people issues. All they're focused on is the product and about being innovative and about doing something new. So as a leader, if you are a catalyst, where you maximize your value, your contribution to your company is to innovate, is to prove the concept and then hand it over. What that means is your job is not, your best contribution is not to build up a team and make everyone feel warm and fuzzy and part of round the campfire. You're never going to achieve that very well. What you're going to do in critical moments, under stress, as the diamond is formed, you're going to revert to your catalytic nature of under stress. You're going to create something new. You're going to design a new product. You're going to start a new project. That is the natural inclination of a catalyst. And so their value is to focus on doing that really well, on being essential. Innovate well, design the product well, design the experience well, prove that it can work, that it can be sold, that someone wants to buy it, and then hand it over to the team to implement. Don't think that you have to be the implementer. That's the catalyst energy. One of the best examples in our day-to-day life of a catalyst energy is, of course, is about to arrive on your screen any second, is no other than our own Elon Musk. You know, as South Africans, and for those of you who are not South Africans on the call, even though he hasn't lived here for a very, very long time, you know, he's ours. We've got him. So Elon Musk, he is really a wonderful example of a catalyst. He changes the world. He's got this amazing, innovative mind where he wants to build satellites on asteroids because it uses less raw materials. Like, it's crazy. But he's able to, through a team, turn his crazy ideas into things that really make a difference. I can't wait for my Tesla power pack to go on my wall, or my tiled roof that's a whole set of solar panels. You know, that's real contribution. But he hasn't tried to do that through people. He's trying to do that through ideas, and that's the value of a catalyst. Our next profile is called the champion. And you'll shortly have it on your screens. There we go. A champion, their contribution to the world is their blaze a trail. Literally, as you see this champion runner running on the screen, as he takes this idea symbolized by the flame, takes the idea and tells everybody about it, and everyone must listen to this beautiful torch, this idea that he or she wants to bring to the world. If you are a champion, as an entrepreneur leader, one of the greatest ways that you can unlock value and become that diamond is to understand that your job is to deepen the cause that you're fighting for, striving for, to clarify the brand or the message that they must go to the market, and to go forth and spread the word. If you are a champion entrepreneur and champion leader, the best thing you can do is to be responsible for the brand and for that message that goes out to the market. Now, a champion is not necessarily very good of operational processes. It's the opposite. Operational processes and risk management and planning, that's on the opposite end of their spectrum. So what you have to do is build up a team around you that helps you to do that, but it's to be the best diamond you can be of going forth and blazing that trail, of going and taking a really, really good, clear course, not just a product, which a catalyst would tend to worry about, a really important cause that you believe in, clarifying that cause and taking them to market. A great example, although an unusual example, of a champion profile entrepreneur is none other than Jamie Oliver. I have a huge respect for this man. He's really grown from the days as a young, barely shaved youth coming out into the market with this kind of weird approach to food. He's a great example of a very gentle champion, I would imagine, where he now is a champion for the cause of sustainable produce, of good quality nutrition in schools. And of course, the thing that he brought was not a different type of cooking style or a different type of technique of cooking. What he really brought is a different approach, a different package around cooking. And so his brand, and the brand of cooking, the Naked Chef brand that he brought to the world, is his contribution and how he's taken that and deepened his cause over his life. He hasn't just stayed in that place as a champion. He's faceted his diamond, and he has taken and deepened his message. But he still has this champion, this cause that he rallies others to support out into the world. A great example of a very successful champion entrepreneur. Our next profile, around the profiles, there are 8 in total, is what we call the coach. So the coach, you can't see the coach in this picture, but they're right in the middle of the team. They've got the whistle, and they're rallying the team together to perform. There's a game plan, there's a strategy. They might not have set the strategy, but the coach is there to make sure the team delivers on the plan. And so the coach's role is all about people, connecting and building and igniting the greatness in others. If you are a coach, entrepreneur, leader, your style of delivering your value in this world is totally different to a catalyst. You're not so worried about the best idea, the most innovative approach, the best product. What you're worried about is the best team, the best performance from the people you've got, the highest growth path of the people around you. That's what you're worried about. And so if we understand that's your diamond and that's your contribution, how do we then take that forward and build upon that? So as an entrepreneur leader, your path to maximum contribution is to understand how to recruit the right talent, how to drive performance in your team, and how to translate that performance into quality customer relationships. These are internal and external one-on-one relationships that are powerful, that create value, and attract financial return. So if you're a coach, that is your path to maximizing your diamond, as opposed to trying to do a different way or expecting yourself to be a Steve Jobs or a catalyst. Okay, an example of a catalyst, and I really encourage you to read up about him as much as you possibly can, is an entrepreneur leader. His name is Tony Hsieh. I know it's got a strange spelling, but it's pronounced Tony Hsieh. And he is the founder of Zappos.com. He is a culture and customer happiness advocate. He's got a wonderful book, I think it's called Happiness Delivered, where he talks about his journey and why happiness is so important for him. And his company, Zappos.com, is such a great case study of culture and the importance of culture that it's kind of the go-to reference point for culture. So you probably heard about Tony Hsieh and Zappos over and over, so my apologies. But he is a wonderful example of a coach leader where he has created value by understanding the importance of workplace happiness, of culture, and of people. His entire organization is geared towards maximizing team and culture. And so that is how he's created $1 billion worth of value. That's the price Amazon paid for Zappos. He created $1 billion worth of value by focusing on team. Okay. So the next profile along the way is the fourth one. Here we have an actual web as part of our presentation. It should come on your screen soon. The fourth profile is called the connector. And the connector is a profile where, if you are a connector, for example, where you maximize value by being able to build bridges between things, of collecting things together, of putting people, time, resources, and opportunities together at the right time and putting them into this pot and coming up with something completely different. Imagine it like, if you can imagine a lake and a mountain, and you've got all these streams coming into the lake, and the lake, which is you, holds all those streams together and makes those streams more than what they were individually. And so the connector has this ability to pull all the threads together, to weave this web, literally, of weaving together this web and building bridges together. They're great at making deals, at understanding connections. Always have tons of people they know in the 1980s it would be a Rolodex, but now in our contacts list. They know everybody, and they always can say, "Oh, I know a guy who." That's a connector energy. They build bridges. They're peacemakers. And as an entrepreneur, if you're an entrepreneur leader and you are a connector, your greatest path to value is by learning how to focus the connections you make. Remember that focus word we spoke about earlier? Focus the connections you make and choose the partners that you want to leverage. Understanding the value of partners, strategic partners, delivery partners, understanding this collective, the chain that is connected, the supply chain as it were, and building a web to hook all these things together. And they also, if you're this type of entrepreneur leader, understanding social capital and the value of your network is absolutely important. So a business that's led by a connector entrepreneur is going to be a very different type of business energy to a business that's led by a catalyst. And hopefully you as the leader and the type of business that you lead are aligned. You can imagine the difficulty. If you're a connector leader and your business is essentially catalytic, how do you manage that? You have to have a catalyst in your team. So think about your business also as having its own profile, and what profile might it be. A great example of a connector profile or connector entrepreneur leader is Mark Zuckerberg. So he's on your screen, and of course we all know Mark Zuckerberg as co-founder, founder, inventor, whatever frame, depending on whether you think the movie was accurate, the leader of Facebook. And he literally has connected the world, besides China. And so Mark Zuckerberg, you might think, oh, he's a tech guy, so, he's not really a connector profile. But what he's been able to do is, through the business that he leads, is build a connection, build a worldwide connection. Even in his youth, if you do research into his life, his first system he developed connected all these devices between his father's practice and home. And so he was looking to try and connect people together. He created a gaming system which allowed people to connect together. He was connecting the world. So if you are a connector leader, what does your leadership look like? What are the things that are important to you that you focus upon? And what does your diamond appear to be? Our next profile is called the custodian. This one right at the bottom. And this profile is really about caring for and nurturing the resources and assets of the enterprise. If you are a custodian, a leader, your energy is totally different to a catalyst. You're grounded, you're practical, you're focused on managing the resources that you have, of looking after and growing the crop that's under your care. I often refer to this profile as the earth or the mother, looking after others and caring for the herd, as it were, which is why this picture is in front of us. But in terms of our leadership, the custodian really honors the promise. They want to make sure the promise that we've made to the market through our products and services and our brand and our marketing is honored, and we deliver real value to the customer and to other stakeholders. They care for that promise, and it's important for them to do that. So what does that look like as an entrepreneur, as a leader? Well, what you'd focus upon, if this was your diamond, is you would focus on things like operational excellence. That as an operational entity, you're able to deliver absolutely perfectly and measurably what the value is you're contributing to the customer. Other things that you'd be focused on are customer retention. retaining long-term customers through the relationships you create, through the delivery. This is not the one-on-one relationships with the coach. This is relationships and retention through the fact that we deliver on our promise and sustainability. They want to make sure that the crops are rotated. They want to make sure that we leave that land fallow so that it rejuvenates while we move crops to somewhere else. Those are the things they're worried about, that, 5, 10 years time, can we still be doing what we're doing? Is it sustainable? So if you are an entrepreneur custodian, your approach to growing your business is going to come from this idea of farming rather than hunting. So think about that catalyst energy, that top energy as hunting, you're in farming. Okay, so I hope that clarifies. As an example of a custodian leader, in my opinion, a really powerful example is Sheryl Sandberg. If you haven't heard of her, that's another example of the custodian energy. You're quite happy to be in the background. She has been a key part of Google's success as the Chief Operational Officer. She is almost like the one that holds together Sergey Brin and Larry Page's crazy ideas as the operational officer, taking their ideas and turning it into an operational, functional business that's sustainable. So she's got a wonderful history of work. So I really encourage you to go and Google her, pardon the pun, Google her by Google, and go and find out more about her. But her real thing is around supporting greatness. Here are these amazing, genius guys, or girls, or ladies. How do I support them and turn their idea into reality? Bring it to ground. Take the seed and make the seed into a plant that can then grow. And she is a real advocate of on leading gender equality issues in the workplace. So that's Sheryl Sandberg. All right, next up we have the cultivator, which will come up onto your screen shortly. The cultivator is building upon that idea of this sustaining energy of the custodian, but a cultivator also has that long term, also has that farming idea, but they're all about tweaking, all about building the asset base, nurturing the growth, not just caring for the stock, the assets, but growing them, moving them forward, tweaking and pulling off those leaves, splicing on new branches, refining, bringing that tempering energy of refining and improving into the process, continuous improvement, but long term. So if you are a cultivator and leader and a cultivator entrepreneur, you're going to lead a business that's focused around a long-term view, long-term planning, complex projects which require complex project plans, and asset accumulation. So what does that mean? A cultivator, as a leader, you will grow your business probably much slower than some of the other profiles will, because it's very grounded and sure. You would probably be risk averse. You do lots of analysis before you take on new projects, and everything would have a plan. Now, for each of these profiles, there is the substance that creates the Achilles heel, the thing, whether it's mescaline or whatever it might be, or speed, there are things that influence our diamond that we have to learn how to overcome. So, for example, a cultivator, their challenge is they can get so stuck in being risk averse and in planning everything for the future that they don't see the tactical opportunity right in front of them. So if you are a cultivator leader and you had a catalyst sitting next to you in your team, you can imagine that person would pick up the idea and come and bring those things to you. So that's why it's so important to build a team, because there'll be things that we miss because we have particular natural energy. All right, an example of a cultivator. I'm sure you've all read the series of books called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki. I've been very blessed to hear him speak. He's a really amazing speaker, an amazing story. And if you look at his life history, where he's done really, really well is where he's collected lots of little small deals and lots of houses. Where he's not done well is where he tried to launch ideas like the Surfer Velcro wallet watch, which bombed. So here's an example of a cultivator where he's finally, even in later years, after many failed projects, come to realize that he needs to gather assets over the long term. Put a new house in, there generates income. Put a new house in, there generates income. If you're a cultivator, entrepreneur, a leader, you will find that your business is typically focused on creating value through long-term acquisition and creating income generation through assets that you build up over time. So quite interesting. I'd love to get some feedback from you, and I'll share with you how to do that a little bit later. Okay, next, second last is a profile called the conductor. And the conductor is just like in this image, the person in the center of all the instruments. Their job is to make sure every violin, every oboe, whatever it is playing the absolute perfect notes at the perfect time. And then as a result, the entire experience of all those many instruments put together is a beautiful, harmonious piece of music where not a single note has gone wasted. And so the conductor profile is exactly about that, about optimizing the performance. They're all about efficiency and process and about everything working as it should. If you are a conductor leader and conductor entrepreneur, your type of diamond is going to look very different. The things that you're going to lead are going to be things like production efficiency, things that are repeatable processes. You're going to look for how you unlock data. Very data-driven reports and analytical. As a conductor, you will tend to have a business that is a production environment, or where efficiency and production and efficiency is a critical part of creating value. Very different to a champion type business or a champion type leader where it's all about creating value through the brand. And so if you understand this about yourself, if you understand your conductor nature, you can focus on becoming that perfect diamond or the best conductor you can be. The example of a conductor leader is Sergey Brin, who is the I wouldn't say brains behind Google, because I think that Sergey Brin and Larry Page make like an amazing brain combination together, what they've been able to do. But Sergey Brin is probably known as really the father of the algorithm, unlocking the value of data. When you hear him talk, he's always talking about this, perfecting the algorithm, perfecting the search results, perfecting the data, unlocking the value of the data. We will hear Larry Page talk about the idea, the concept, a more catalytic type focus. So Sergey, as an example, as the co-founder of Google, is a great example of a conductor who's been able to really create value on a financial scale we can't possibly even imagine. Change the world by understanding the value of unlocking data and turning data into value. If you are a conductor leader, you're going to work in a particular way around data, around really maximizing how you use that. Okay, last profile, and then I'll bring the ship in to the harbor, as it were, is the calibrator profile. And this profile is all about fine-tuning the instruments, continuous improvements. You'll see here in the images a lab technician who's testing and experimenting, trying to find the perfect formula, turning lead into gold, the perfect alchemy. And so the calibrator profile is one that does that. They look to duplicate themselves, of creating a system that can survive beyond themselves, of continuous improvement and improving. So if you are a calibrator leader, you typically will be in a business, or typically will lead a business where the system is pivotal, where a system that can be duplicated is what you are building. Okay, so think about, if you're a calibrator, what it is that you're building and what is the business, the essence of the business that you're leading. You will find it'll be a duplicable system. That might be a business idea that later can be turned into a franchise. And the way you're processing it, it's not selling the idea, but selling the system that you have created that can be duplicated. So that is a massive amount of value. Think about Ray Kroc of McDonald's. What he was able to do is not create the best hamburgers by far, but create the system that can be duplicated, and that's the value that he was able to unlock. So if you're a calibrator, entrepreneur, you'll be creating the system. And of course, the last thing you want to do is worry about people and operational processes. So that's why you need the team to support you. The example of an entrepreneur or a leader who's a calibrator is Marissa Mayer. Now, if you've been following business news, you will know that she's come under a huge amount of flack for some of the disasters happening at Yahoo. And in a way, it's an example of understanding the calibrator profile. Her claim to fame, or the thing that she's most successful, is leading the team that took the idea of Google AdWords and turned it into a money-making machine. So that, if you think about her idea as a calibrator, of taking this idea and refining it and retrying it and developing it over time, because AdWords has refined and developed its methodology over time. It's not about the data, which other people are worried about. It's actually about the system of collecting and managing data that she was responsible for. And then she moved to Yahoo and had some real challenges in stepping out of her natural energy and into an energy where she needed to be in a coach profile, and she wasn't. And so the big fallover in Yahoo has all been about people and relationships that she just has struggled to do on her own, and has taken quite a solitary path of trying to be very calibrator in a world which needs to be coachy in nature. So please read up about her, because it's quite an interesting story, although at the moment she's in a bit of trouble. So those are our 8 profiles, and I hope that as you've been going through them, you thought about the types of words I'm using, what makes you feel excited when you hear words like, is it about innovation catalyst? Is it about people coach? Is it about turning ideas into tangible reality of the long-term custodian? Is it about refining and tinkering, more of a conductor energy? As you've been going through it, think about what is the type of diamond that you are here to create, and how can you do that most effectively. My third idea that I'd like to share with you this morning is the idea that I might be stating the obvious, but in reality, my experience is this is impossible to do well. It must be done, but it is near to impossible, is to make yourself dispensable, not indispensable, dispensable, and implement the escape plan. So what on earth does that mean? Even if you've only just started your business and you really are self-employed to some extent, you really only have a business when you have employed somebody else, and you have a team. So if you are at that really early stage, you should be already thinking about what is my escape hatch? What is the process I need to do to build up this team, not to run away from it, but to leave behind a team that can continue to grow and prosper, but actually get out of the way. And what tends to happen is that it's just human nature, it's not anyone's fault, it's what we do. Our businesses become like our babies. We become attached to the idea we've created and to its identity, and we kind of wrap our own sense of ego and self-worth and the company and the vision and the products and the customers all together in this very complicated mess. And so we try and make ourselves indispensable, that we are the center of the universe and no one can do a thing without us being involved. So part of this process of maximizing our leadership as an entrepreneur is that the moment we decide to become an entrepreneur is start designing the escape plan, is to understand that our job is to be the best diamond we can be, to weave the web. And when the web is woven, that's a tongue twister, it's time to escape that and do the next web, but to be the best we can be and be true to our zone of flow. And of course, the only way that we can do that is to really develop our ability and our competency in building an effective team around us. I've got on the screen for you a number of different methodologies we employ to do that using the contribution compass. Of course, it's great to have a profiling tool that you can do, and you get a result at the end of a questionnaire. But what's really important is what you do with it. You can have a profile and know your profile, but whoop-de-doo, it's how you turn that into a result that's important. How you maximize your contribution is really important. So we approach building a team using profiling as a particular methodology, but what's really important is that we understand the only way we can go from self-employed to having a business that will be an asset to this world, not a liability, a contribution to this world, something meaningful, is by building an effective team. And that means understanding how to build up a team, how to add the right profiles or zones of flow to support you to be the best that you can be, instead of adding a whole lot of yourselves. We have one client where I'm doing an assessment on their business, and all they've done is continuously to add exactly the duplicate profile to their business. So they have this very imbalanced way of approaching the world, because they've got this kind of extreme energy in one particular area. So how do you build up a business? How do you start up a new project or a new team in flow, so everyone's in flow and you mobilize everyone well? How do we recruit? So that's in the top right. How do we align the profiles that we bring into our business to the right positions to make sure that we've got the right place? If you are needing a detailed analysis type accountant. You don't want to put a champion accountant in there. You want a conduct accountant. So have we thought that through? Have we been clear around the role that you're recruiting and build up the team in a very conscious and purposeful manner? The third element is balancing the team. So, for example, some of the work I do is putting together reports and assessing boards. And very often what you look at is you see there's an imbalance in the board. There's one particular energy that's really high. And what you have to do in order for the team to be mobilized and to truly give a holistic perspective and a balanced perspective is to put that right energy in to bring that balance. So when they recruit the next director, what is that director's energy? And we're only looking for a cultivator, that's it. So it's thinking about bringing that balance to the team, to mobilize the value of the team, to make sure everyone's in their zone of flow. And then the fourth part is really, over the long term, growing your team consciously. You might start right now with a particular team. It's not about chucking the whole team out, starting again. You can't do that. But it's about how do you grow and develop people that not only getting the aces in their places, but also helping your team to mature their profile. Because you can put, two coaches side by side. One has really learned the value of mobilizing a team to be excited to work, but also being held accountable that if they don't perform, there are consequences. That's a mature coach. On the other side, an immature coach just loves everybody, doesn't want to, hurt anyone's feelings. So we don't. We get a team that doesn't perform. So in your team, you might have a particular energy, a cultivator. How do you make sure that cultivator is the diamond and not the coal? And so the process is about growing them appropriately as well. All right, so to recap, there are three key ideas or three important things that I've shared with you this morning. One is to strive for essentialism, which is the disciplined pursuit of less in quest for, and the ... is whatever your vision is, what is your meaningful purpose you're here to achieve. Number two is discover and maximize your zone of flow. What is the diamond you're here to create? What is the value you're here to create? And how do you create those stepping stones to maximize every drop of time that you have? That we invest time and not spend it. And third, that we make ourselves dispensable and implement the escape plan the moment we decide to become an entrepreneur. Now, there's a number of ways you can take action flowing out from today. One is to come and contact us about getting your contribution compass profiler done, and there are a number of different ways you can do that with us. So contact us if you'd like to find out more about the profiler and about profiling your team. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things we do is also board and team assessments, where we look at the collective energies and the individual energies of your team and look at how you can improve that team going forward and some of the changes you might need to make. We also have, through our partner program and through our accredited facilitators, open and in-house training programs. You can also become an approved distributor if you'd like to distribute these profiles and support of your business. If you're a coach, for example, you'd like to work with a really powerful tool to support your clients, you can become an approved distributor. And of course, an accredited partner is one that has gone through our accreditation facilitation program. So there are a number of different ways that you can take the next step. If you'd like to get hold of us, if you'd like to find out more information, the best option is to contact us directly at info@contributioncompass.com. And I'd also encourage you to go and check out our website and go and have a look at us and follow us on the different platforms. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we have a YouTube channel you can subscribe to get the latest videos. And we, of course, have a Facebook page, and we're also on SoundCloud. So lots of different ways and lots of different mechanisms that you can contact us on. We literally have another couple of minutes, and I've been ranting on about something I feel very passionate about building companies and building economies through entrepreneurs and through leaders. If there are any questions that anyone has, I encourage you to click on the question box. We'll have to move it. If you've got a question, click on the box, come on, jump on board, type in your question if you've got a question for me this morning, or alternative, if you'd like to, you can click on the little hand icon, which will let me know that you'd like to comment on something specific, and I can unmute you and put you live. So anything from anybody this morning, any questions or any comments, you're more than welcome to go for it. Okay. Oh, one comment. Insightful talk. Thanks, Belinda. Thank you so much, Michael. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I hope that you enjoy the rest of Global Entrepreneurship Week. There's a lot going on in the agenda. I encourage you to go and follow the, I think it's GEN, at GEN something, which is the Twitter handle for the South African GEW conference. Go and follow what's happening. There's all kinds of amazing things, inventions, and discussions, and mini Shark Tank type presentations. So go and follow the story, and go and listen to what's left for the last couple of days, and really work out how it is that you can grow yourself as an entrepreneur. Okay, great. And Eloise, thank you for your question. I'm going to contact you directly around that. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the sharing, and look forward to chatting to you all again soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.